Hello, 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 welcome back to Hunter Tune. Today I'm going to continue working on my EF Civic that I bought earlier this year and I've had some wiring issues with. And yeah, today I'm going to end up putting in a whole new harness from MonoTech USA. So this is the engine harness that he custom made me. So this is a dual point fuel injection, so like the like this style Civic was dual point fuel injection. So it doesn't have 4 injectors, it only has 2 from the factory. So the car harness is dual point fuel injection. And as you can see, this car has a B16 with an OBD1 distributor and 4 injectors. So he made this harness specifically for that. And also the jumper harness is in this as well. This should be a fairly plug and play setup, and hopefully it gets rid of my issues that I've been having. You guys know that I have a CYP code that literally just will not go away no matter what I do. So I'm going to be putting on a brand new distributor from Most Plus. So these Most Plus distributors, you can get them on Amazon or eBay. I have never had a bad one, so I like to run these Most Plus distributors. And this is an OBD1 distributor, and the harness is set up for an OBD1 distributor as well. This harness is also set up for my Flex style decapped injectors with the EV6 injector pigtails and no resistor box. So here's some of the instructions that MonoTech sent me. It says the pin connectors are your check engine light to flash the light to check your codes. Once you turn the key to the on position, OBD0 systems to check your codes through the ECU housing now will flash from the cluster. So anytime you do an OBD1 conversion, you will you check your engine lights through the check engine light in the cluster. And you guys know this car, the check engine light didn't even work, and I had to they had cut the check engine light wire, and that was causing my CYP code to come on once I hooked that back up. So it's just a really weird situation. So I'm just gonna start fresh, obviously, with this new harness, which are somewhere inside the car. And yeah, make sure you disconnect the 2 wires once you retrieve your codes. Yellow IAB and blah blah blah. Knock sensor may not be used. I had this custom made. Like, there's no knock sensor plug. There's no added, bull crap. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by removing the old distributor and spark plug wires, get that out of there, and I'm going to remove this engine harness from the car. So this engine harness has a resistor box with some precision injectors, which actually run really good, but I don't want to run a resistor box, so I'm going to end up selling these injectors with the resistor box probably on Facebook or something. And yeah, we're just going to start unplugging stuff. Probably start with, like I said, I'm going to get the distributor out of the way and then unplug the injector harness, because that is like a separate harness on this deal, where the injector harness on this harness is all tied together. So this is part of the engine harness, all 4 of these injectors, and they go down and they hook up right here. So this is an added piece of the jumper harness right there where this stuff plugs into. So for like your VTEC wiring and the injector wiring, it's separate on this. So, or maybe not the VTEC wiring, but yeah, it's got 2 plugs down here that just plug into the jumper harness, and these plug into your fuse box and stuff like that. So I'll go through it here in a second. I'm gonna get to getting a lot of this stuff removed. All right, guys, continuing working on the EF. I actually brought the car to my house and I tackled a lot of the wiring last night. Wiring that was kind of unrelated to putting this harness in, but I had to make sure that the chassis harness was stock, and all the wires were where they should be factory, instead of the kind of OBD1 conversion that the previous owners did to this car. So I spent probably 4 hours last night wiring new ECU plugs on. These are the old ones. So here's the old main injector plug. You can see they had the adapter there to run out for their own injector harness, which I have sitting right there. So I took that out and just got rid of this butchered stuff. This plug was the most that wasn't untouched, besides this wire right here, which was for the check engine light that was cut initially. And then this one was all the distributor wiring, that plug. This one had wires definitely where they should not have been, and I just cut it all off and redid everything. And I traced the wiring to make sure it's all good. So now we have the jumper harness from MonoTech plugged in to my stock chassis harness. So you can see I got the wiring all taped up. I soldered all of the connections, and I got a lot of stripped wires and stuff in here from doing this. But it should be good to go now to plug the engine harness in. So what I'm going to end up doing now is I'm going to swap out the injectors on the car, because like I was saying, I have EV6 connector on this wiring harness now. So I'm going to swap these precision injectors out for some Hunter Tune Flex style injectors. Once I get those swapped in, I will plug the engine harness in and then plug it back into the car, and hopefully all will work, and we'll see. Completely code free, running smooth. Got the flex injectors in there. Next, I'm going to tackle this headlight harness. But I wanted to make sure that we're running code free, which we are. Running beautiful. Got everything tucked away. Down in here, ECU's bolted in, fuse box is sitting up here. The harness is so much cleaner now. It makes sense. Everything plugged right in from MonoTech. That worked out great. But my heater isn't working now. So I'm gonna have to see if I blew a fuse or something weird on the heater. The blower motor isn't turning on, so I gotta figure that out. And then I'm do the headlight harness and hopefully drive this thing. I've been kind of jonesing to actually take it for a ride. I might wire the stereo too, and then clean out the rest of the stuff in the back seat. Alright guys, so got the new harness in the EF, about to take it for its first drive. I was going to do the headlight harness and stuff, but I just zip tied it out of the way for now because I want to rewire some of the headlight harness. Got my laptop plugged in. Fires right up now. Runs pretty good. So I just threw like a quick base map in this thing. Got boost close for air fuel, and just gonna do a couple little pulls. But this thing definitely rides pretty like spongy. Like it's kind of darty. Like it kind of wants to dart all over the road. And it's the first time I've actually driven this car. And you can tell it's bumpy. And like every little bump that I hit, it wants to like pull you over to wherever the bump is. I think this car has like K-Sport coilovers, I want to say. Something like that. But engine runs good. And this turbo spools up pretty fast. figured it would have been a little laggier, but I think it's like a GTX. I want to say this is like a 3076 or something that's on here. It's a genuine Garrett. Dual ball bearing. Sorry if the camera's shaky, this car's just bumpy. And I had my GoPro all set up, but the camera died on the GoPro. My SRT4 boost gauge is working good. This thing's got like 50-60 pounds of oil pressure cruising, like 20 at idle. Speedo works, gas gauge works, coolant temp works, tack works. The radio does work, I just don't have it put in right now. Everything's working, that's cool. She spools up, honestly, surprisingly fast. Now, I think this car, I was told, it has like Brian Crower turbo cams. I don't know exactly what part number or anything like that, or if they are degreed or anything, but I did do a pull earlier off camera, and it does seem like the car is kind of anemic. And I wouldn't doubt it, because the intercooler is like that thick. It's really small. Also, the gas pedal is sticking a little bit, like when you first hit the pedal. I've talked about this 100 times on other cars, but you gotta adjust the throttle stop so the blade isn't all the way shutting, because that's what it's doing right now. So I have to like really kick the pedal to get it to free up. It's on like 8 pounds of boost, 9 pounds, something like that. And the butt dyno tells me it's like maybe 250 wheel. Honestly, my 4-door D15B feels healthier than this thing. Like, the motor's fine, it's just like it needs tuning, because it's just anemic. Like, it needs a better flowing turbo manifold. It needs a bigger intercooler. Grind them till you find them. So, yeah, like I said, it definitely needs some parts and some tuning. These camshafts are a, I don't know who that was. This car definitely needs a better flowing intake and exhaust, because the camshafts that are in it, just like the car that we just did recently, where we put a set of stock cams in it and it actually ran better and made more power, because these cams just can't breathe through a tight log manifold and this really small intercooler. So I'll show you what this thing does here in a second when the road clears up. But yeah, I don't know. Like, immediately makes 6 pounds of boost, like nothing. With the crappy piping that's on it and whatever, it works. May not be the best thing in the world, but it's not the worst. Can hear in the camera or not, this thing really picks up at like 7,500, 8 grand. right before the damn rev limiter, she starts to come alive. And I did a data log earlier, and it's not boost creeping, it's just the fact that the camshaft starts to work at those high RPMs. So I wish this setup had a little bit better flowing parts on it. Yep, I'm definitely driving it around with no bumper, no corner lights, no hood. Whatever. So, yeah. Anyways, once again, showing how small this intercooler is. You know, there ain't much there. Engine sounds great. Tranny shift's decent. It might need, you know, a fluid change or something like that. It does kind of notch into third a little bit. It's not terrible, especially for an old cable tranny. It shifts pretty good. Also, the linkage is kind of sloppy, so could fix that too. There's a lot of little stuff on this car that I could fix. You know, and it's funny because every single one of my cars needs suspension. Besides my 4-door that I just put those Max Peating Rods coils on, but like my Integra needs suspension, this needs suspension, this needs trailing arm bushings, probably bushings all around, because it just like, it feels loose in the bushing department. And usually when the trailing arm bushings are shot, you're gonna feel the back of the car walk around, and that's kind of what I feel on this thing. And when I purchased the car, there was trailing arm bushings, brand new ones in the trunk, so I'm assuming it needs them. Also, the CV axles click like when I turn a corner. There's a lot of little stuff with this thing now. I fixed the majority of the main stuff, but now it's like a lot of, you know, kind of time consuming, you know, nickel and dime parts that I need to get for it, which is kind of annoying, and it kind of sucks because, I don't know, EFs are kind of always a headache, it seems like, because they're so old. And then like my heater stopped working for some reason. I think the blower motor resistor is completely shot now, because if I power the blower motor with direct power, it runs fine. And it's getting like some power to the blower motor, but that's another issue that I gotta maybe figure out. And it sucks because like the older I get, the more this stuff bugs me, and I like need to fix it before I like want to drive it or want to race it or go do highway pulls or whatever. You know, back in the day, I would drive shit with like one brake, one working rear brake, and I'd be like, hell yeah, let's go fucking do some highway pulls. But now, growing up, I'm like, man, I gotta make this stuff right, you know. And this thing drives good. It's just, it's not perfect, you know. And part of, you know, growing up and working on these things as long as I have, I know what a good one feels like, and I know what a good one can do, a good car. And when it's not 100% good, it's just not enjoyable for me, you know? Like when it's completely dialed perfectly, suspension, car, engine, tune, tranny, clutch, everything like that, they're awesome, but it takes a lot to get to that point, and it's always like little things here and there that are constantly adding up. And by the time you finally fix all that stuff, then another thing pops up. And it's just like, it's always something, you know? That's kind of like cars in general, and it just sucks because I haven't devoted time specifically for one car because I've been so scattered with other cars and helping other people, and then I just go get another project. And that's like, I've been tempted a couple times where there's been a lot of people that have like Snapchatted me and messaged me like, oh, what do you want for the EF? Like, I'll buy it from you, or I'll trade you this car, or I'll trade you that car. And I'm always like really tempted because my ADD always wants me to like get something new and be excited again, you know, where it's tough to get excited about something that needs work and it's not perfect. So yeah, like I said, I've contemplated maybe like trading this thing for like something, I don't know, or you know, do I just like stick all the time and money into it and make it perfect? I don't know if I want to do that either, because the car itself it's pretty decent, you know. So I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but hopefully you enjoyed the little street drive that we did here. The car runs good, but it definitely feels anemic. It's choked up. Maybe we'll dyno it with the setup that's on here. Maybe I'll just drive it to the shop and strap it down the way it is, and we'll see what it makes for power. Like I said, I'd expect like 250, maybe 300 wheel, way up at the high RPM, but like overall power sucks in this thing. I'd rather have a lot of overall mid-range power, which a stock camshaft's going to give you, a log manifold will give you, but you can't mix these big cams and stuff like that with the parts that are on here. It's just got to get changed up. It's got to be a little bit better setup. So anyways, enough babbling. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the EF now that it's up and running finally, and we have 100 other things we can fix on it. So let me know what you guys want to see. If you want me to maybe do more videos on this car, what we should do, I have a buddy that has a turbo kit that I might buy for this thing, and I might sell this turbo that's on here because it's a genuine Garrett dual ball bearing. Maybe like sell that to buy the other turbo kit, which is like a top mount manifold and a VS Racing turbo to put on here. So I'm hoping maybe I can get some good money for that Garrett turbo that's on here to pay for that. So that'd be cool. I don't know what else to say or talk about. I'm trying to think. There's probably 100 things that I want to say about this car, but yeah. That's gonna be it. Have a great night and better tomorrow. Hopefully you enjoy the EF. Let me know you guys' thoughts on this car. Yeah, I really want to focus on the Integra too. Like, I really enjoy driving the Integra, more so than I enjoy driving this currently, obviously. But the Integra has needed inner tie rods for the last like 2 weeks, and I still haven't put them in. I just gotta get that done, get an alignment, and it needs wheels and tires and coilovers. And then like I have this other project and this project, and it's just like, I don't do any of it. And then I'm like, ooh, Grom. Because the Grom, I feel like I can finish everything in a day on. I don't know. I like the Grom. I like bikes lately. I love the bikes. Bikes are definitely, I don't know, they're hitting the right feels for me lately. I don't know. Anyways, enough babbling. Have a great night and better tomorrow. See you later.